Welcome back. Today is the last video of 21 techniques in 21 days series. In this video, I'm going to talk about front stance, Zenkutsu Dachi. As you must have seen that in one of my earlier videos, I have covered Zenkutsu Dachi, but it was not in much detail. But in today's session, I really want to cover a lot of aspects of this stance because this is one of the most frequently used stance of in your karate training. So what is the importance of this stance or any stance per se? So stance improves balance and stability. And without balance and stability, your technique cannot be effective, whether be it a blocking technique or a striking technique. There are four important things to know when you are learning your stances. Number one is balance. Two is the timing of your hip rotation, speed, and use of correct muscles when you're doing your technique and when you're doing your stance with the right timing. And when it comes to Zenkutsu Dachi, in particular, of front stance, one of the front stances, as I said, is one of the most important and frequently used stance in karate training. It is used in different ways, like in your kotai work, in your kata, and even in self-defense techniques. Actually, it's just a matter of you knowing when to use that stance. So without telling a lot, just I want to really emphasize the fact that Zenkutsu Dachi or front stance is the most important stance, and it requires a lot of practice to be able to uh, do in a right way, in an effective way. Well, back to Zenkutsu Dachi or front stance. Start with your normal stance or your Hiko Dachi or parallel stance. And the width of your parallel stance is the width of your shoulder or the width of your hips. Do not keep it too wide, not too short in terms of distance between your feet. Normal stance. And to start your Zenkutsu Dachi, the best way, if you're doing it for the first time, or if you really want to improve it from the fundamentals of it, then I would suggest you starting this way. So just drop back your right leg in the same straight line in one straight line. I'm not going outwards or I'm not going inwards. Just try to draw a line and then drop your right leg in that same straight line. Before I teach you moving forward and backwards, just a few things. First of all, that was the distance between your feet, and how far it goes is depends on your height and your physique actually. But the important thing to remember is I'm showing you 45 degrees so you can understand what I'm doing. So when I drop my right leg back, just make sure that my right knee is not bent and straight. And my front foot is pointing, your opponent is pointing forward, slightly inwards. Instead of keeping it straight, relaxed, and pointing in front, I just put it slightly inwards to get the proper grip of my the ground. And my knee and the toe are in one straight line. This is not a correct forward stance, and obviously this is too much. That's not an acceptable stance as well. So just your knee and your toe in one straight line. Your back leg straight without bending your knee, and keep your toe in, but do not try to keep it too much in so that you raise your heel. That becomes again a wrong stance. So that's pretty much your stance. So now let me face you and show the same thing again. So in your normal stance, which is your shoulder width, drop your right leg back, bend your knee, lower your hips, chest up, hands on your hips. Now moving forward and backwards. So instead of keeping this straight, as I said, keep slightly inwards. That will help you grip the flow properly and make your stance right. 1, 2, 1, 2. Moving backwards. 1, 2, 1, 2. If you see, what I'm not doing is I'm not raising my level of my hips. I'm maintaining my height when I'm moving forward and back, and that is getting me the me into the next step forward. Similarly, while moving back, maintain your height, keep your hips at the same level, and then moving back. Yeah, same thing. Once again, this time let's do without count, non-stop, or one count. No, you're starting from right leg back, hands on your hips, lower your hips, bend your knee just up, and then moving forward and backwards. Backwards. It is very necessary that you keep your feet closed before you move forward. This is the wrong version. And why? Mainly because if you keep your body straight and go parallelly, then you are not getting your hip rotation right. If you remember, there were four important aspects. One is balance, one is hip rotation, and the speed, and the last one was the use of your muscles properly. So by keeping this in straight line, then you are not rotating your hips properly. But when you're going from A to B, now your hips are getting in the right position. And then when you move, then you're actually using your hip power to with the technique, whatever you're doing. It could be a block, it could be a punch. So moving forward once again. So the purpose of keeping your feet closed is getting your hip rotation right and adding that power that's being generated from your hip uh, to the technique. Forward, backwards. Now let's do it with a punch. Punch out with the same leg. This is called Oizuki. If you are using the same hand to punch that has your leg forward, it becomes your Oizuki. If you use your reverse other hand, that becomes your Gyakuzuki. So let's do Oizuki. 2 count. 1. Do not get your shoulders in straight line for 1. Keep your shoulder behind, because by doing that, I'm rotating my hips in the opposite direction slightly, not overdoing it, slightly. But when coming forward, I'm getting that rotation and the punch at the same time. So once again, 1 and 2, backwards. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 count. Moving forward, backwards. Now, when you're doing your forward stance punch or Oizuki, especially for the first time, then the chances of your timing not meeting with your footwork and your punch are high. So don't worry about it. You can fix it with your practice and by doing it again and again. So to fix that, I mean to be careful about it, what you do is do not start your punch straight away. Don't move your hands until you are about 60% or more, about 60% of your way. And then when you are done from here, that's when you move your hand and feet together. So in slow motion, it looks like this. Because if you realize your hands, your punch is faster than your footwork in this example, in this stance. So you don't want to start both at the same time and end up with punching before your stance gets stability. So that's the reason why don't move your hands, just relax and start your hand movement when you're more than halfway to your target. Now, in this part of the video, I'll try to mention the most common mistakes beginners do when it comes to Zenkutsu Dachi. So to start with, I know I have been telling to back your right leg back, but the proper way you train with is your Zenkutsu Dachi in your Gidan. Okay, so the common mistake people do when they are doing Oizuki is number one, as I said, do not bringing your feet together. That's the mistake number one. So this is a no. This is a no. This is the wrong method. The correct one is moving your feet together and then going with your punch. Number two is keeping your extending your arm too much, your shoulders, like this. So this is too much. So you are not supposed to extend your arm, but try to keep your shoulders in straight line and then punch. Yes, there are, if you're doing jab to the face, that's possible, that's okay. But usually, in most of your karate drills, katas and things, you have your punch to the stomach or to your opponent when he is at a height where it looks like a stomach punch. So for that reason, do not extend your shoulder. So keep your shoulder in straight line. Just try to keep it by pulling this hand behind, backwards. Now, just to give you a glimpse, this video is being watched by almost every level of karate students, and I'm receiving some very high technical feedback from the subscribers. So thank you guys, keep them coming. I just want to bring this to your information. These videos are mainly focused on beginners, and I really don't want to get into too much detail and make it complex or confusing for beginners. Like for example, when we are pulling the other hand back, this is called hikite, and it has a full session in itself. I really don't want to add another technical term and make it more complex for the beginners. So please, if I'm not covering some aspects, then it's not that I'm missing it or I don't know it, but it's mainly for the reason that I don't want uh, to lose my focus. Of course, I mean there may be things that I don't know, so please feel free to share your knowledge and your feedback, and I'll try to cover in my future videos. So the other common mistake beginners do is not maintaining their height. For example, this is not the right punch. You need to maintain your height. And one more very common mistake is how high you lift your leg, your moving foot. It's not high actually. You try to keep it very low, and some schools they say it's okay if you're touching the floor slightly and subtly and then moving forward. But I suggest that you lift it, but not that high. And as long as you're not touching the ground, and as long as it's not affecting your speed, then it's fine. So this is wrong. It's a no. This is quite okay. So I did it lift slightly, maybe an inch or two from the floor, and then moved. That helps my speed as well. Yeah, thank you for this. And with this, we conclude the 21 techniques in 21 days. Thank you to all again for your feedback and for watching my videos again and again. And as I said, these techniques were mainly focused on beginners, but with your feedback and the motivation that you are giving me by watching my videos and subscribing to my channel, I'm really getting motivated, and I'm planning to publish some intermediate and advanced techniques in the coming days. So I have got it planned, and of course we'll keep publishing from time to time. So please do subscribe to my channel. And a lot of newbies have been asking how can they make use of this channel. So please tell them to follow the sequence of those 21 techniques, and that will be very helpful for a beginner to learn by watching videos. Thank you, and